Imagine a search term, of all things, that isn't...
Wait.
Alright, imagine something that's so bizarre and so enigmatic
Bizarre?
that it's caused otherwise
It's
ordinary
enigmatic.
people to vanish from the
Crazy.
internet without a trace. Ladies and gentlemen,
What word?
this is the story of Erratas, a 4chan
Erratas.
conspiracy.
We're still thinking about one little word. That little word ain't dangerous. That little word ain't gonna do anything.
It was 2015.
Yeah.
On 4chan, an anon would make a question thread, inquiring on others' paranormal or bizarre experiences at work.
Paranormal.
The replies promptly rolled in, but for some strange reason, one would
What?
stand out among the rest.
Okay.
About a week after the original post, on November 26th, another anon would pop in to make a reply outlining an experience that one of their friends had while working a box packing job for a programming company.
Alright.
At 1:26 a.m.,
What?
this was posted.
What was posting?
Okay, just a heads up. I'm only 20 and have only ever worked retail jobs my whole life. If I get terminology wrong, it's not because I'm bullshitting. It's because
Yeah?
most of what she described is out of my frame of reference. I'll be honest. She's a
I
super
still don't
interesting
get it.
chick. During this period, she was homeless and in a
Alright.
band. Her agency
Yeah.
gave her a job at this place that was closing down all their locations in the
Uh-huh.
country. And basically, it was well known that they were shady and generally treated their employees like cattle. Like they were in the
Cattle?
process of cutting down all their full-timers to shit hours, replacing them with temps, and having the temps do the exact same work for like $10 an hour. Everything was
I
really
still don't get
disorganized
it.
by this point, and different departments were scattered everywhere, and they were just getting
Uh-huh.
everyone to do whatever work they could give them before they'd fire them. They had a programming department that made payroll programs for
Right.
other companies or something along those lines. But by the time she got there, it was literally just one dude, and they were giving him
One
random
dude?
jobs to do, like working
Oh,
assembly
what you-
lines and running forklifts.
Okay,
They
at
put
this
her
point,
and this dude in a
is
room,
it
gave them a couple
starting
tape
off
guns,
like
and had
what
them pack stuff in boxes.
arachnidness
Most of the
is
stuff
and
there
why
had names of their
you can't use
respective
that word.
departments written
It's
on
a
them in
storm.
Sharpie, but hers said Erratas on it,
Uh-huh.
or however it's spelled.
Oh, erotic.
The dude told
Why
her to
can't
get rid
we
of the
say
tape gun
arachnid?
and not to mention it to any supervisors,
But
since
it sound-
apparently one of the jobs
Hey.
years before had
If y'all got confused on Horizon, y'all know. But y'all still don't know the reason why Horizon would delete y'all channel. Or might mess up your website, your internet. But y'all see the reason why y'all can't use Horizon.
been writing code to flag any employee that
Yeah.
searched for it in their computer system.
Flag them?
Not any old word.
Damn.
Just
so
that
not
one,
even the
and they'd
people
fire
in
you
the
if you got
company
flagged.
could use that word.
Weird shit.
So that's
Seems like this could be
bad.
a simple one-off situation, right?
Yeah, one
Well,
off
not quite.
into
About
a
a month
different
later,
situation.
on the night of December 19th, another anon
Yeah.
would visit the site, inquiring on something eerily familiar to the story that we just heard.
What?
At 8:30 p.m., they ask, "Did
What they
anyone
ask?
here have any IT jobs on the East Coast between 2000 and 2010 or so?" I ask because a few people I know from that time and
Why?
area have talked about some sort of sketchy HR-related program
What?
called
Who
Erratas, and I'm
asked
wondering
that?
if I can find any info about it.
I gotta question him. Who in the right mind will go on a website like that and ask a question like that? I never expected somebody to be that slow to ask a crazy question. And not crazy, but it sounds stupid to ask a question like that.
Not strictly paranormal related, but disturbing. And I believe I saw someone on X mention it before. So if that is about an hour out, if what
Alright.
this anon is
Like,
saying
what's
is
so
true,
bad about
combined
it?
with our prior knowledge on this situation. So far, we have this elusive, omnipotent entity by the name of Erratas. This Erratas thing
Why-
was
why
hardly
can't
ever,
you say
if at all,
Erratas?
mentioned prior to
Erratas.
December of
Erratas.
2015.
It-
The girl that initially
I
mentioned
can't
this
say
was
that 'cause
in a
the
band
E
and
sound
working
is
for a
Erratas.
programming company. This has
Most
obscured
word- you don't
mid-2000s
see,
ties to the HR
first
departments
letter
of
of the
various
most
large
word.
corporations,
Oh, yeah.
and if anyone goes as far as to even look it up at work, they're fired. No questions asked.
Damn, should you
Now,
immediately fire?
some might
No
hypothesize
question,
that this could be some sort of
no
virus or Trojan horse that's
last
strictly banned
check,
from any
no
company computers.
last money, no
And to be
damn.
honest, this would make
Yeah.
sense. They tend to be
Why?
taboo topics to dig into on a work computer. They're known for stealing your info in one way or another, and are typically a large corporation's worst nightmare. Get one Trojan horse on your company network and say goodbye to days, even weeks worth of productivity time as it's being repaired. Anyway, this is just one small theory off the top. What about
Come
that
on.
box though? What about OP? Where exactly does this mystery go from here?
Yeah.
Fast forward another month, and we're now in 2016. In a share thread on the music board, yet another anon would make a reply with an obscure reference to Erratas. This time though, it wasn't a direct mention of it, but rather a song by a band named the KFC Murder Chicks. Now get this, the video that they linked took you not to their personal band account, but to that of a man by the name of Todd Ellsworth. Here, we're able to notice a bizarre video about a forklift, an album by a so-called DJ Roswell, and yet another by a band named the KFC Murder Chicks.
KFC Murder?
Now, about their music.
Who in the right mind will have a name, a band name, called KFC Murder Chick? That gotta be some type of devil work, or you have something in your mind telling you to make a band name like that. What type of kind of music?
Other than that, there's really no cause for concern here. Until you read the description of the Murder Chicks video.
A really good coma recording release that seems to have disappeared from the internet. Remember to support the artist Erratas.
Seems to have disappeared from the internet.
Okay.
Remember to support the artist, Erratas or Rusts.
Interesting.
According to archives, this initially read Erratas or Bust, but was subsequently changed. Why would this guy include this here? Notice how this video was uploaded on November 21st of 2015, before any mention of Erratas ever came to light. It's exceptionally out of place. So what are we missing here?
What's the big question we're missing? Now we're in chapter 2. Chapter 1, we're like getting a feel of Erratas and seeing like what the reason why we...
The snippets of evidence for an algorithmic anomaly, as many were beginning to theorize, were tenuous and circumstantial. But this was only the beginning, and the first of many new discoveries would come only a few months after the posting of the original threads. In January of 2016, a thread was created on 4chan's music board by an anon looking to pioneer a new music genre, which they referred to as Deep Internet. The mission statement of Deep Internet was to create, quote, a subgenre of noise, found sounds, and musique concrete, using super obscure, short and or low quality YouTube videos, eschewing traditional notions of musicality. The original poster added the criteria that source videos must have fewer than 20 views. The idea was met with enthusiasm, with many users eager to participate. But once participants began watching this list of example videos the original poster provided, a portion of the discussion quickly pivoted to a specific upload. The first video was simply a commercial for a small-town electronics store. Nothing exciting.
Okay, nothing bad.
However,
who said that? You saying you do a mind controlling your life. So what are you trying to say about YouTube? Is YouTube actually trying to monitor your life or what? It can't. It might, but I'm not on the same board with you.
Chronos for Life Jurassic Park. One of the first things you'll notice about this video is the incredibly poor visual quality, which, granted, was part of the criteria for the Deep Internet music genre, but this wasn't what caught the attention of the music board.
It wasn't?
The text, superimposed over images of the film Jurassic Park, seemed to accuse YouTube of conspiring against the uploader and their mother. Although it's when taking into account the paranoia Chronos for Life felt toward YouTube, it's possible the poor quality of this video was an attempt to disguise the text, making it difficult for the alleged algorithm to detect.
And
although this was an interesting video with many eager to watch and discuss, it was easily explained by mental illness, perhaps born out of grief for the passing of a loved one. However, only 3 hours after the posting of the original thread on the music board, Chronos for Life uploaded this video.
Dang, the beat is hard. I hope anyone reading this is good with computer. Can you help a dude out? Why would you say that? What are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to take someone's information? Or are you trying to use them? Cause there's no reason for you to go and say, I hope anyone reading this is good with computer. Can you help a dude out? Now, if I were good with computer, I'm not helping you. Anyone with... Is it anyone with...
The description of this video reads, "This video is mainly a test to see if it gets deleted. First time really trying to see the limits of the Erratas algorithm. If it flags this one, that's some spooky shit."
So you're trying to see if the view got deleted.
YouTube for obscure videos under 20 views with which to make discussion splintered off, with many eager to continue down the Erratas
Don't even type out the word Erratas,
was created
why so much people using that word
Erratas? To non-existent.
Why are you using it?
Hypothetical human resources software, a YouTube channel dedicated part. It was safe to say there was more to be uncovered with this channel, and at least for the time being, it was the most promising area to focus investigative efforts. It wasn't long before users discovered a secret at the end of a video entitled Jurassic Park 3 Tribute. Amidst a lo-fi rendition of a popular R&B song, the trademark beeps of Morse code could be heard. Although the translation Hollywood Astral Projection Clinic provided no concrete
I don't get what connecting to it. Like Erratas? Like we're connecting that word. We're making that word so bad that people at work get fired for even typing up that word or using that word. Like, what is so bad about it?
Either an ARG or behind-the-scenes puppeteering provided incentive to keep going, to see where this all might lead. And it wouldn't be long until the next breakthrough. Days later, on January 27th, Kronos for Life uploaded a video entitled Answering Questions, in which they responded to many of the comments in their previous videos. The video opens with the following text. "I've been fairly reluctant to ask anyone for help, since the nature of classic paranoid nutjob ramblings. Algorithms controlling things behind the scenes, weird stuff happening. In the past couple years, I've asked for help from friends in programming and business circles. But over time, friendships fade, like people stop talking to you. As such, I'm very grateful for the help people are giving, and I'll try to answer as many questions as I can here. The first and arguably most..."
One thing I gotta say is, what would happen if I actually go and find the YouTube headquarters and broken the algorithm and actually fix my view? Like, could I actually get to a downside? Could I actually get monetized without anybody knowing? I probably could. But I gotta be sneaky. Boy, just don't do it. Just do it natural.
Pressing question Kronos answered was posed in the Here Goes Nothing video comments by user CorkTop, who asked, "So, with this video, are you essentially trying to see if this system called Erratas will attempt to take down the video because it's some system algorithm that takes videos down that I don't know, include the term Erratas in there?"
I don't know Kronos' what you were trying to go for.
"I don't know much about programming or computer systems, so I'm not too savvy about how to trick them. All I really know about Erratas is that it's used by dozens of companies. They seem to use it as a copyright enforcement tool, but it has its limitations, and I'm fairly sure that my test video helped ferret those out. Maybe." Kronos went on to cite manufacturing companies 3M and Unilever as those who employed this algorithm, although to what ends they used Erratas was not yet clear. But this at least seemed to explain what the word meant. Erratas was ostensibly a copyright software meant to locate and flag usages of certain words. And
the first person to actually make that word and make sure my people afraid of using that word, or have people being fired because of them typing up the word or using that word when they're writing or typing a letter or something.
Jurassic Park trilogy is excellent, by the way. I highly recommend it. The second film is my favorite, in spite of its flaws. Although it was common knowledge that Kronos and his late mother were obsessed with Jurassic Park, this aside still drew attention to itself due to how random it was in the context of the video. It seemed to warrant attention. While sleuths were investigating that lead, another exciting revelation was being made elsewhere on the Kronos for Life channel. Turning on automatic captions for the video titled Here Goes Nothing yielded two important discoveries. The line, "Overthrow the government," and an address for a location in Corbin, Kentucky. It's important to note that automatic captions aren't created by YouTubers, but are merely a product of speech recognition, causing many to wonder how these two lines of text ended up in the captions. And to further add to the mystery, once these two clues were discovered, the subtitles no longer featured them. Despite this added layer of complexity, investigations chose to, at least momentarily, focus on the clues presented. Corbin, Kentucky. What did Corbin, Kentucky have to do with Erratas? Yeah. Corbin is a small town whose claim to fame is boasting the original location of Kentucky Fried Chicken, connecting Kronos for Life to the noise rock band KFC Murder Chicks, and consulting.
That don't make any sense, but it could. Didn't the KFC Murder Chick use her rottenness in their lyrics, right? So it could connect her rottenness to them and where KFC actually came from. So it could connect.
Camp page users found their hometown listed as, you guessed it, Corbin, Kentucky. As if to further reinforce this revelation, the phrase "the lost world" was discovered to be an anagram of the name Todd Ellsworth. As you'll remember Nexpo pointing out, Todd Ellsworth is the individual promoting the band's music videos. Links between clues were being formed and connections made. The path forward, at least for now, seemed to have a clear direction, but one persistent question remained. If Erratas was simply a copyright detection software used by various companies, why the paranoia? Why the secrecy?
Why the... Well, you from like company and stuff, then why the paranoia? Why are people so afraid to use that word? Why a company postponing people from using that word and firing people if they use that word using it?
Where was this all leading?
Chapter 3, the murder chick in the wild. Now we're going to get to the murder chick scene.
KFC, murder, chicks. For some reason, there are too many ties here to just discount the numerous references as some sort of coincidence.
Like you look at chapter 2, now 2 is going to show
January
you more ties toward
another thread
KFC,
was made on the music board of 4chan. This
after
time
the
digging
view,
into the Erratas and the KFC murder chick.
After the view, I'm about to look up and see who the KFC murder chick really are. I want to see like who they really look like after the view. I actually will do that.
Situation. A day later, the phrase, in actuality, is also the handle of a Twitter account run by Todd himself. Heading over there brings to light an entirely new arc of information into this bizarre mystery. This account was opened on November 14th, 2015, just 7 days before the Murder Chicks upload on the Todd Ellsworth YouTube channel. The first post on this profile was an eerie police sketch of a 2005 Hawaiian rape suspect, and the second was a tweet about the U.S. Postal Service being, quotes, the deepest part of the deep web.
We did see that.
During this time, simultaneously, the KFC Murder Chicks had, on their Tumblr page, made a very bizarre post outlining their reluctance on shipping physical copies of their CDs due to their lack of trust in what they referred to as a creepy postal service. Subsequently, screen caps were taken from the Ask Me Anything portion on their page, and this is where the mystery, albeit loosely, would begin to converge. In reference to the postal service remark, one user asked, "What about the post office? This is probably a controversial view, but there's a lot to suggest that they're tied in with a lot of the government's more unsavory activities. Spying, profiling, general disregard for constitutional rights, all that fun stuff. Lots of stuff sent to us, and an inordinate amount really has never made it, and vice versa. Not to say I'm in favor of the way they got fucked over by the FedEx and UPS lobbies either, though. Now, normally I'd write this off as a simple hot take on the post office, but considering the timing here, especially in relation to the Todd Ellsworth tweet, things were becoming suspect, and so more questions rolled in. What do you know about Erratas? Like magic? Yu-Gi-Oh! Erratas? We don't know what Erratas is. Please stop messaging us about it. It's getting weird. And another.
Why are you texting them? Hey, there's no reason for you to be texting them about what Erratas is. Or are you like sending them an email about this situation? Because you're the one who's doing this, right?
Hey, big fan of your music. Quick question though. You posted a link to your album, Cortex Rampage. I got to give it a listen before it disappeared, and on the track, Get Shit Straight, you mentioned a man named Todd Ellsworth. Who is he?
Todd Ellsworth? Yeah, who is that?
To which they responded,
who is Todd Ellsworth?
He's fine, don't worry about it.
Okay.
This isn't lining up. Here, they claim that they know absolutely nothing about Erratas, but also go forth to say that the name of the one person that's repeatedly been dropping hints about exactly that is doing fine. Noted. And one last example, yet another question rolled in that inquired on the band's favorite types of movies, in which they responded with the Carnosaur series. This ended up sparking even more interest, since, as we can recall, Kronos for Life was an avid fan of the series that Carnosaur was accused of ripping off Jurassic Park.
So he accused of ripping off
considering the circumstances up to this point, but another tie to Erratas nonetheless.
Why Erratas is like out through the whole video? Like I hear so much things about Erratas this, Erratas that, Erratas. Like just get through the meaning of it. But they tell you step by step to the reason for Erratas. Which chapter you on? So for YouTuber go missing.
Before we begin, it is important to understand some things.
Yeah.
This may be something serious that involves the hiring and firing practices of some corporations. It may just be an alternate reality game or simply a series of coincidences strung together by whatever algorithms were involved. This is an ongoing community-driven investigation and therefore its validity is up to the viewer.
Things went dark for a while. In March of that year, a well-respected export YouTuber by the name of Herb had caught wind of this Erratas thing, and much like we are today, decided to do some digging of their own. Having uploaded multiple videos over the topic, it appeared that Xer was making some solid progress on this entire mystery, documenting their findings in real time. This subsequently would result in an odd turn of events though, as in late May, Xer would disappear from the internet for good. No YouTube, no Twitter, no Tumblr, no online presence, zip, nada, gone, and people lost it.
Wait a minute, he probably quit YouTube and deleted all his stuff and everything on YouTube, or he actually did go missing. There's two different reasons to him missing disappearance.
Considering the timing here, combined with his recent and relentless coverage of this bizarre mystery, people had begun to speculate that this was potentially the work of the Erratas entity itself. But was it? Interestingly, a few days before this sudden disappearance, people on 4chan began to speculate that Xer were the ones behind this entire mystery altogether, arguing that one of the websites that they showed in their video was one that contained a lost KFC Murder Chicks album. While a solid postulation, this was eventually found to have been discussed on 4chan a few days prior. So that theory, albeit understandable, was debunked. As of writing, only one of their Erratas videos and another over a different mystery seem to have been archived. Since their disappearance, the only real coverage about this was by a user named Toxicologist. In this upload, they discuss the odd termination of the accounts, leading some to believe that Toxicologist is actually Xer himself. Makes sense. However, only one of their videos covers this, and that's it, implying that this person is being genuine.
What people are saying is that channel right there could have been Erratas and he just deleted all of that and they made a whole new channel. Could've. But they not putting that piece together because only one of the viewers from that channel is saying that.
All in all, the circumstances surrounding the export, Todd Ellsworth, Jurassic Park, Kronos for Life, KFC Murder Chicks, and Herb are jarring. However, there's one more instance that's had an uncanny tie to this bizarre Errata situation. So let's take a look.
Chapter 5, Erratas discovered. Wait, there's like 2 more chapters? Is it like 7, 8 chapters?
As we saw with YouTuber Xer, coverage of this topic was potentially radioactive.
Happened to Xer.
Y'all get the 7, 8. The 7, right? But do y'all get that 1, 2?
Ooh la la.
The 1, 2.
Ooh la la.
1, 2, but
by the Erratas Illuminati?
Xer had been uploading videos consistently for nearly a year, and the notion that his coverage of Erratas would be his last before performing a deep scrub of his online presence seemed too coincidental. And when taking into account the bizarre way in which Kronos for Life communicated their concerns, censoring the word in the video description, disguising their messages in lo-fi, barely legible text, it's reasonable to assume that those who were familiar with Erratas believed it to be an algorithm of eerie sophistication. And as we learned on 4chan shortly following these new discoveries, some of the users who weren't so careful about openly discussing Erratas also begin to disappear. The more taboo the subject seemed to become. Although 4chan is occasionally notorious for their uncensored and at times controversial use of free speech, it seemed there was one subject that was selectively targeted for removal. It happened so often that the term errated was coined in order to describe this sudden and unexpected disappearance. It became pervasive enough that those who simply wanted to discuss the band KFC Murder Chicks were paranoid of being deleted. Just a thought, one anon posted. Should we be backing up these threads offline just in case? I mean, if we're actually investigating this, we should be prepared for the event that it turns out to be true. Who knows how deep Erratas goes? So now the question remains, are these mysterious censorships compelling evidence for some kind of omniscient program which tracks and deletes any mention of itself? Is Erratas the Orwellian nightmare many fear? And has it infiltrated the internet to such depths that even anonymous forums are no longer safe havens? But as many of you may be wondering, if this were the case, why does a Google search for the term yield Reddit discussions, screen-capped images of charts and diagrams, and pages of attempts to solve this riddle? Wouldn't these
the endpoint, but realize halfway
now,
through the endpoint of
even with all the chaos that ensued in the realm of 4chan surrounding this strange mystery, it's, very surprisingly, had flown under the mainstream radar. It seemed that after the 4chan ban dilemma, mentions of Erratas, or even X or Herb, and the Murder Chicks for that matter, seemed to fade into the back burner of internet history. So what really is it that we're dealing with?
Like, what type of
For me, personally, a few things have stood out here that I can't seem to show.
I'm seeing a double contraband of this because it seemed to me that the devil working around that word and having people disappear or having people get fired or some way that making it a lot of like some type of mechanism that you can't use.
For starters, we need to clear the air on something.
What?
Todd Ellsworth is our key here. There are far too many bits of evidence that surround this guy, and it seems as if he's the centerpiece of this entire online mystery. Because of this, I believe that we need not brute force our way into finding out who's behind Erratas, but rather the true identity behind our mysterious Mr. Ellsworth. I find it incredibly interesting that just a few days prior to the first ever mentions of Erratas, Todd Ellsworth had launched his Twitter profile. More bizarrely, on his YouTube channel exists a full album upload from the KFC Murder Chicks and that one other person named DJ Roswell. More on them later. Anyway, this has led me to the assumption that possibly this band has more to do with this than we think. Really, think about it. KFC Murder Chicks album is on this YouTube channel. In the description of said video, we see a bizarre phrase that states, Erratas or bust. Also, back on Todd's Twitter page, he mentions distrust in the postal system, and heading over to the KFC Murder Chicks Tumblr page, they claim the exact same thing. Furthermore, the band claims that their favorite movies are the Carnosaur series, which was widely regarded as a ripoff of the Jurassic Park series, being a direct tie to Kronos for Life, someone who pled that they were being targeted by Erratas. And lastly, the nail in the coffin, their Tumblr reply about Todd Ellsworth. When directly confronted about his inclusion in their song and their thoughts on this elusive person, they flat out state, he's fine, don't worry about it. To me, far too much points us back to this strange band. Far too much to discount all of this as some sort of coincidence and to absolve them from any sort of involvement here. I'm led to the belief that the original mentions of this Erratas thing was fabricated by the Murder Chicks themselves, or at least someone involved with them. Just prior to this, they set up the accounts, got all their ducks in a row, and proceeded to string 4chan along down this incredibly bizarre rabbit hole. Anytime the mystery seemed to go dead or stall, so to speak, I believe is when they jumped back onto the site to bring it up again, further directing attention to these posts and various accounts. But who actually was it?
Who was it? I gotta see who was the person who come up with that word and why that person say that word in the first place.
Remember that other video on Todd's account? The one with that other music album that we didn't touch on much? It was made by a DJ, Roswell. Atrocity Guide had actually found a solid amount of information on this guy, and apparently, he frequents the paranormal board a lot. As a matter of fact, in 2014, he used his alias to make a post explaining that he's going to start a noise rock band called the KFC Torture Chicks. Further on that year, he made a thread asking if anyone would buy a certain toy that went pretty viral back then. If we can recall, there was some pretty large outrage over a children's toy wand that had a disturbing photo of a girl cutting her wrists inside of it. Anyway, what's the significance of this? Well, a mere 2 years later, we see this picture again in a thread directly related to the Erratas mystery. Specifically, the one where we discovered the connection, Kronos for Life. Speaking of them, I wanted to go forth and make a claim. I personally don't believe Chronos for Life was involved in creating this mystery. I'll explain. While Exer and Todd Ellsworth acted as catalysts, I believe that the Chronos for Life situation was shoehorned into this entire situation by Roswell himself.
So you're saying,
as a matter of fact,
so what you're saying is it got booted into the whole role. Not booted out, but booted into the whole role by that person to like hide something or hide the reason to Erratas. It had to. That's what I'm seeing here.
I wouldn't put it past him to stumble upon this Chronos for Life account, since going by this image, he was active in discussion regarding Jurassic Park. Notice that there's a random address thrown into the captions in error, and to run with it, matching it with the alleged address of this brand new band that they're a producer for, the KFC Murder Chicks. I believe that this entire thing was fabricated and run not only by the KFC Murder Chicks, but primarily DJ Roswell himself. According to the paranormal report of 4chan, for instance, he loves being there, and numerous jokes have been made involving the possibility of, quote, every post on X being made by Roswell. Now, thinking about it, this entire concept isn't anything new either. We've seen plenty of companies and groups use mysteries and alternate reality games as some sort of marketing tool. 9 Inch Nails did it, Cloverfield gave it a shot, and more recently, even Stranger Things jumped on the bandwagon.
Nowadays.
It's surprisingly effective, and the darker side of the internet that we're all a part of absolutely loves eating this stuff up. Unfortunately though, for Roswell and the Murder Chicks, it seems as if it didn't turn out to be quite as groundbreaking as they thought it would. With the lack of any real updates on the supposed Erratas algorithm since 2016, it seems as if this mystery, or ARG, has run its full course. What started as a bizarre 4chan story ended up leading curious minds down a rabbit hole filled with mysterious social media accounts and the uncanny sanitation of multiple YouTube personas. 3 years later, and very ironically, if DJ Roswell's goal was to fabricate this story for some sort of marketing ARG, then I guess due to this video itself, it worked.
Well, YouTuber went missing, a new channel pop up, soon that's the YouTuber, we had the KFC Murder Chick, everything, like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, click the icon right here, click this video, and click the playlist, just like this video.
Misunderstood, so misunderstood. My temper is bad, my mission is good. I never be labeled as good. I never be labeled as mentally stable.